I'm literally asking this question from a place of curiosity. When a person posts such stupidity, are you conscious of the things that you are doing? And when you post a comment agreeing to such stupidity, are you also conscious of the things that come out of your mouth? I'm literally asking this question from a place of curiosity. When a person posts such stupidity, are you conscious of the things that you are doing? And when you post a comment agreeing to such stupidity, are you also conscious of the things that come out of your mouth? And I'm also asking this question from a perspective of a black person. If you as a black person glorify such propaganda that's spreaded in our society, you ought to know that as a black person, you won't be working in that establishment that you want to show that white people are more governable. It's only white people who will be working in that establishment. You as a black person wouldn't be caught even walking on that pavement. Are you also aware of the neighborhoods and the areas that black people lived in during apartheid? They only took care of areas where white people live, and that is something systemically still done in South Africa. It never changed. We as black people seem to have a memory loss that's below goats. Honestly, that memory is very, very, very concerning for me. We have memories of a goat that's even below a goat. Because the same white people you are glorifying are the same people who destabilized Zimbabwe because they could not fathom in their mind to see a black person governing a society, let alone a country without white people. And they did the same thing with South Africa, where they don't want black people to prosper. Even to this day, they are so hateful of our own progress. And when we do things of sort, we support their propaganda. Because you as a black person, you should know that your descendants, whether you mix with other races, you would never really fit in the white society. Because when they build buildings like this, they only have themselves in mind. They don't care about you. When you as a black person spread narratives of an apartheid system being such a good system, you are ignorantly spreading a lie. Because it never favored black people. It never favored black people before apartheid, which was colonization. It never favored black people post-colonization, which is apartheid. Post-apartheid, which is a democracy which came from white people. They gave us the worst democracy. Our constitution was not even written by black people. That's to show you that they did not want power in the hands of black people. This is why they go extreme miles to destroy black people. I mean, where do you think the rent manipulation comes from? They own the economy of this country. They are literally bankrupting us deliberately. They are literally leaving as little money in the government and taking the most in the private sector, which is owned by white people. Like, come on, people, like, really? If you work with them, you literally see the kinds of people they are. And when are you gonna come here and show me areas like this to support the narratives that, yeah, black people need us? No, we don't need you. Because it's you doing this. It's you. It's been you, bruh. Like, it never changed. Hello? We know that you own this country. This is why you do what you do. And it's only a selective of people who know and understand that you still control this country. You are still the same person who came during colonization. You never changed. So let's not lie to ourselves and say that you are capable of governing South Africa. You are capable of governing South Africa under your own game. So let's stop doing this thing. It's so pathetic, it's so old, and it's so boring. Because you as a black person, you wouldn't even dare have freedom of speech if you even put white people into power. You see the things that you think that you can do, it's gonna end. Literally, the few things that you think that you now have will be taken from you, because it's obvious that you take them for granted. They took them from you during apartheid. So now you have a little bit of it and you think that you're on the same level with them. You're not white. Let's keep that in mind. even you mix your descendants with them or any other race, you will never be white. You will never be treated as a white person. You will never amount to whiteness. That's something you need to put in this thing. Get it inside your brain. You'll never, even if you support their own ideologies, even if your child speaks English through the nose, whatever you think of, you can never be white. Please relax yourself. If you want me to clearly take it there, I can clearly take it there for you. The ANC is many things. However, let's not give it credit for the things that they did not create. The ANC found South Africa in decay. They actually did try at one point to try to revive it, because this is how black people used to live. Hello? No access to water, no access to electricity, no access to internet. You see, the way that you're typing did not happen. No access to free education, no access to that 350 that you get. No access to even proper jobs. The only jobs that you even qualified to get were those of gardening and washing dishes. There was never a point where South Africa prospered, please believe me. And even when it did, it prospered on your own expense. You have a little bit of data in your phone, and you have an access to internet, and you have the privilege to tell me that a black government that gave you privilege to have internet in the first place is to blame for the problems that was created by the system that was created by white people. You never had liberation in this first place. The fact that you even have a democracy is thanks to white people. The democracy is not something that black people came up with. The ANC, which represents black people, don't represent the actual needs of black people. They represent the actual needs of white people, rich white people. The same people who ensure that you live here are the same people who gave you the mindset that you have, that you lived better when they ruled. You did not live better when they ruled, and you still don't live any better when they hide behind the shadows. And also, lastly, I also have a problem with people announcing their blackness to me. Like, my sister, I'm black. I can get it. You don't need to tell me that you're black. I can get it from the first piece, my sister, all right? So know that as a black person, I get you're black. So you should know that you shouldn't be announcing your blackness to me. I know. When you say my sister, I'm confirmed. I know that you're a black person. So you don't need to tell me anything else, all right? Keep that in mind when you create an account next time. And get it? Toodles. Listen, I'm not the biggest fan of ANC, right? However, I am going to choose the ANC government over the Apartheid government any day. Sinje as Bantu Bamnyama because of the ANC, and we cannot take away what they've done for us because of corruption, which has always been there. We have access to healthcare, we have access to education, we have access to electricity, we have access to water, we have access of freedom. We even have access to political rights so that we can access our voice. Even despite everything, we have access to so many things as black people that we did not have before. And all of this was made possible because of the ANC, and we cannot take away that from them. I'm never going to glorify an apartheid state, especially for the fact that it still haunts us to this day. For the apartheid government to be successful in governing the minority in South Africa is because they were governing for the minority. They never governed for the whole country, they governed for a few selective of people. And if I had to rule a section of people, I can possibly do that. And given also enough budget to do that, you can do it. But if you are a black government and you're given limited access of money, and also we should remember that the private sector is also taking money from the government under quote unquote corruption. We shouldn't even forget that Botha's government was even stealing tables and chairs because they did not want the black government to utilize their stuff. So black people had to start again from scratch. So now people are agreeing with apartheid apologists like, hello, today I am who I am because of the ANC. Hello, There are decent jobs that people could have worked if the white minority ruled. Is gardening, is mining work, is farm work, is even washing dishes and maid. All those jobs where you do cashier and all those underpaid jobs that you'll be doing, those are the jobs that you're qualified to do as a black person, despite your qualifications, because we know that they are educated people. However, because of the system is telling us that only a selective of people can be allowed to work. So we cannot even compare the ANC government with an apartheid government because they cannot compete. The ANC is catering for everyone. The apartheid government catered for white people. And that's something people with amnesia seem to forget whenever we bring up apartheid. That the fact that you can even travel from Soshanguve to get to Pretoria and spend your time more than an hour to get to work when somebody else can take around about 30 to 25 minutes to get to work because of their area. Hello, all of those things are things that we found and designed from apartheid. I'm not telling people to go and vote for the ANC, by the way. I'm telling people to acknowledge and never forget where they came from. Black people shouldn't be so quick to forget the struggles that they came from. Black people who continuously seek a one-sided relationship with white South Africans, or rather in general, white people, baffle me. Since the arrival of white settlers, South Africa never prospered for everyone. They even said this themselves because it's something that they are not even ashamed of themselves. Apartheid government of South Africa, like the Nazi government of Germany, has made its racist policies clear to the world. We want to make South Africa white. Keeping it white can only mean one thing, namely white domination, not leadership, not guidance, but control and supremacy. As a black South African, you never had access to proper health care. It did not start with the ANC, it started with the NP. Or better yet, it started with colonization when they would keep black people in concentration camps just to watch them die. You as a black South African, you also never had access to proper jobs. You were also underpaid the same way they are paying illegal immigrants to do the same jobs that you were protesting against during apartheid. Or did you have amnesia? It's the only job you could possibly do as a black South African, adding also mining, farming, and gardening. These were the only jobs that you were capable of doing for white people. They did not need you for anything else. Unless you're also catering those same services to other black people. But by the way, black people were also poor, so. The ANC also found us living in the townships, by the way, right? They did not create anything, okay? They found us nurtured and brought up in that system. Because we also don't have economic liberation, we still take dictatorship from the same people who oppressed us physically, emotionally, and financially. The only areas that they took care of, they were white areas. And like I said before, if you can take care of a minority, you can definitely do it. I myself can do it if I'm taking care of 5 people. So you cannot compare the ANC with the NP because the NP did not do its job. Clearly, access to transportation, can you look at that? This is your history. You want me to school you at this age? This is why other Africans undermine us so much, because of this level of ignorance is mind-blowing. While also black children were protesting against Africans and protesting against white police, white kids were playing in the lake, having fun, right? But yeah, you don't have anything to be grateful for the ANC, right? Do you really want me to take it there? Do you? Because I can clearly take it there, because I'm embarrassing myself because I have no idea of what's happening in my history, but you do. You do. I'm embarrassing myself. Highball. This was the only reality of a black person. It did not start with the ANC. The only problem that the ANC created for us is to allow us to believe that the apartheid ended. How can something end that we don't understand? To this day, they don't want to release information about what apartheid is. You don't know what apartheid is. You don't know how it functioned. You don't know how it operated. The only thing that you know is what they tell you to know about it. And you cannot claim that apartheid knew how to govern. Please, good night. You cannot say that. Everything that you are today, you owe it to the ANC. You owe it to them. You must be grateful for that. They may have not given us what we actually needed as black people. We should have not even stopped fighting at this point. They made us believe that we should, and that's something that we should crucify them for. But for the rest of the things that they managed to give us, we should really stop sounding ungrateful. You are not white, okay? When white people talk about their own problems and what they face with the ANC, it has nothing to do with you. You keep quiet. You shut your mouth, because you ought to be grateful. You can go to white schools, you can go to white universities, something that you would never do during apartheid. You can walk in white towns, in white areas that used to be only them, and not get harassed by the police. You can do that. You can buy a house in the white suburbs. You can work in a white office. You can do a lot of things that they were denied to you. You can have access to information, or rather the internet. You can have access to so many things that you cannot have access to. Rather yet, your own freedom. You can have money also without the police telling you what so what. So many things that you can have access to right now that you did not have. You have so much possibilities as a black person right now, thanks to the ANC. And I do not intend to take that away from them, despite my own differences with them. It's time for us to move on into something bigger and look into the future. But we should not take away their right of what they've done for us. And I will not allow you and your white apologists to do that to the ANC. Never.